Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. One who is diametrically believing that as a movement should have 8 characteristics: sober and calm during times of confusion and chaos, patient during tribulations, thankful during good times, content with what Allah has provided him. He does not do injustice to his enemies. He is not a burden to his friends. His body is generally tired, and yet the people can take relaxing comfort in him. Knowledge is a close friend of the movement. Forbearance is his minister. Consciousness is the general of his troops. Sensitivity is the brother, and piety is his father. These are some characteristics which we've talked about some of them before, like sabr, patience, constancy, doing good, and what have you. But I've been thinking about this a lot because of the time we're living in. So a believer should have 8 characteristics. We won't deal with all of them, but sober and calm during times of confusion and chaos. That's the time we have right now. This is the sober during times of chaos and what have you. Has a lot to do with certain things like we talked about before, about rumors and about all kind of suspicious things going on. And so today I spent most of the time chasing down a lot of the things that either we've already heard about or we should hear about. But I know one of the things that we look at all the time is that we have a buffoon as a leader before us. And this buffoon, somebody said he's gaining in the polls. I said, the people will tell you anything if you believe it. They'll tell you that Donald Trump, that people are getting behind him and da-da-da-da-da. That's the people that's got all the money saying that. Right. The whole medical field, the whole, all the rest of the people are saying the man is crazy. He don't make no sense. He don't follow no pattern. He don't do. So then, and remember there's certain things as perception management and reality. Perception manages a picture that they draw of a person, place, or thing, and the people generally act off the perception and not the reality. That's not the way we are. We've always acted off the reality, not the perception. So they could run in with, do you know, if you wouldn't imagine how much false information we've been getting over the last, let's say, 40 years. Most of the information we get is sent to us, and most of it is false information or diverted information. Information that might cause us to miss the mark. If we're shooting at a target, we might get close, but we'll miss the target. Okay, then why haven't we missed the target? Why have we been right on, as they would say, right on the money all the time and every time? It's unbelievable. But yet the information we get that's sent to us is false information. It's giving us the impression that the people we're looking at are very powerful and very famous and they're shaking up the world. They ain't doing nothing. But that's what Boss Man is saying that they're doing. They try to send us a picture of somebody so we might get jealous of them. You know, jealous. And they figure Negroes get jealous, so we'll just make this guy famous, and automatically the Negro will get famous, will get jealous of another Negro. It have never worked. It just haven't worked. It's haven't worked because the people that they putting up as famous and earth shakers are sweetie pies. They ain't doing nothing. And since we've been around a while, we know they're not doing nothing. And look, the worst thing for a phony is when everybody knows that they're phony. If they're phony and don't nobody know, if like, say, Abdul Malik acts like a know-it-all and a student of the black struggle and all that. Well, when he's talking to the foreigners and they believe him, he don't care whether it's true or not. Long as they believe, long as when he acted, he feels souped up in the part. Same with our people in New York or Chicago, all of those places. As long as you think, as the people think that they are real, it's fine with them. I asked some of them, I said, why you keep acting like Malcolm? Why don't you just go on and do the stuff that he was doing? They look at you like you're crazy. What? All that heat, all that problem? Right? I want to just be famous and a stooge for Boss Man. So they try to make us jealous of these people. I'm sorry, it don't work. It don't work now, and it never have worked. Because when you come up in the real society, you know who we used to call them popcorn Kool-Aid niggas. In other words, people, they had processes, some of them had Cadillacs and all of that. I know it was a long time ago. I was hanging around, we lived on the other side of town, so a couple of Negroes from the other side of town, they had their hair down, they had alligator shoes, they was sharp. So one of my real friends that was from East Oakland had moved back to West Oakland. He said, yeah, so-and-so now, those is little niggas. You know. And I just said, yeah, I know they're little niggas. But you know, the people out here, since they dress and they look a certain way, they think they big, because the people is going by what they see. If they got the certain things, if they da-da-da-da-da, then the people, I don't ever trust them, I don't ever do nothing with them. They just come around, they said it's fine, be on around. But they was little. And one of the worst things in Jahiliyyah to be was little in those days. For somebody to say and mean it, that's a little nigga there, boy. That was like heart, that was crushing. You know when people hear stuff and they crush them? That would be crushing. But to a popcorn Kool-Aid Negro, hey man, that's what they was. They just wasn't real. And they played off the perceptions that people had. If I look like it, you know what I mean, then people gonna get with me and think that that's what I am, then I'm gonna use that to play me in a position of trust. And since they think I'm big, they gonna drop stuff off with me, they're gonna do this, they're gonna do that, and all the time they're little. That's why it never worked. Because what we came up in, you just had to be big. And if you wasn't big, everybody would, you know, so they wouldn't even want you around because you was little. Like, you know, when all the big boys is hanging out and blowing and doing that, can't no little niggas come in there. I said, no, this guy's little. You know, and that was horrible. To be little, perception management. You might wonder why certain things are going on with Don right now. Well, there's a whole history of things. If you might wonder why would he have the right to have the military or any other group or organization build masks and all of that and construct this, that, and other, and he don't do it, it might be that that's his job. Remember, whoever put him in power got him in power for a job. And so it might not be ineffectiveness or inefficiency. he might be holding up. You can't do that. If you hear him say, well, the disease might be worse than the treatment might be worse than the disease. Okay, the man is crazy. To all human beings, you cannot put material before the people. Well, with them you can. They don't never put, see, you can get blinded by your own class thinking and what have you. Those rich people that got bailed out last time, and they always get bailed out by the government because they was too big to fail. Hey, they may have Don in there. First of all, he destroyed everything he put his hands on, right? In reality, he done messed up if you wanted somebody to mess up America, good, he did it. But suppose all the governors are saying, hey man, we need this and we need to do that, and then they doing it. But Don ain't doing none of that. Suppose everybody's saying, well, we may be into this for the next 2-3 months, you know what I mean? They canceling Olympics, that's probably in June somewhere, right? They ain't, you know, it's way off.
I think it's next year.
But what I mean is, they postponing everything. Okay, now, suppose Don say, hey, wait a minute. Remember we talked about the trap, the economic and the trap that this present environmental circumstance presents? It means that whatever you're going to do, they trapped into it. So, but this time is so close to the 2008 situation that they cannot just go out and help. They got one in this bill they're getting ready to pass. The stock market went up to over 2,000 points today just because they got a bill getting ready to pass, right? And that bill says two things, more than that, but we're going to help the rich people, the big companies. They're going to have access to unlimited amount of money, right? Without any overseeing or without anything like that. And the other side of the team is saying, and the people, remember what they said in the first go-round, don't help Wall Street, help Main Street. In other words, help the people, right? So now, this is too close. The people is watching everything and say, hey man, you're talking about it hurts the economy if we keep on cutting down this and cutting down that, right? Which you do. But Don is saying, no, we got to get back to work. And on top of that, we got to help the big groups, the big companies, we got to help them more than the poor man that need help tomorrow. See, his rent is due tomorrow, right? He got laid off last week, or early this week. He needs help right away. And one crew is sent, let's help them. Well, they have a dilemma. Their dilemma is, no matter what they do, this thing is going down. If they put $1.5 trillion in it last week and it didn't do no good, it's going to chew up this $1.6 trillion, whatever it is. It's going to chew that up too. And tomorrow, that thing will be headed back, or the day after, it'll be headed back down. Why? Because the whole world is on stop. The whole world is on stop. America is a consumer society. That's what keeps the economy roaring. There's people buying everything, right? Okay? When they stop buying, if they just stop buying, and that would crash the American economy if they just stop by without all of this other stuff. Because they're consumers now, they're not producers. Remember America the Great? Can you imagine where did everything you get come from? Can you imagine there's such things as strategic metals and strategic assets. Medicine is a strategic asset. How could you let somebody else produce all of your 85% or more of your medicine come from China, right? Okay, they made a mistake on China. We talked about it before, and we'll get back to the subject, but they made a strategic mistake. If we transfer all of our production to China, first of all, it's going to be free labor almost for a long time. But China was not stupid. They said, transfer that, but you also have to transfer the technology to go along with it. See, a poor country, they can't demand that. They said, we'll be your lackey and produce for you. But, hey, China said, oh, no. Not only they stole everything, remember in the 80s and 90s and all that, the Chinese stole everything from a boss man. Cassettes, DVDs. They still stealing DVDs now. You know, all of them come from all the DVDs I got come from China. You know, the ones in the cellophane package and all of that, and they halfway good from China. China really call itself, I don't know, John or something like that. I say, your name is John. Yes, I said, you're the first Chinaman I ever. Well, my real name is Hong Pao. I said, okay, that's fine. You know, something like that. No, Tony, he said my name was Tony. Okay, let me get back to the point. The point is that there's a lot of turmoil and a lot of rumors going around in the society. What I want to do tonight is clear up a few points before we go much further. Number one, as we said, Trump, he might be holding up on producing things, you know, these lung breathing machines and all that stuff, because he may be told not to do that. We don't know how this stuff really got started. They keep blaming it on China. First I'll go through Iran. Iran, when they got hold to this stuff and they furloughed, can you imagine, they let people go on furloughs, 85,000 people in the penitentiary. And half of them that they let go on a furlough is for security things. I mean, like they're dangerous to the state. They let 85,000 of them go. They just did that. In Iran, 1,934 lives have passed, but they've had 8,913 recovered, which people don't ever talk about now. Iran, on March 15th, they moved right away on biodefense. The army was alerted, and so they said right away they started going through biodefense training, because they was looking, the army always looks at everything like they have to, in a total way. They said, we don't know what this is. It might be biotechnology that's designed to pick at Iranians specifically. Genetically engineered stuff that we talked about before. This genetically engineered to finish off Iranians. They don't know. So the Rahbar issued a fatwa or an edict, whatever you want to call it, last month. They started right away training for biodefense and on military, how to clean up things, how to do this, how to do that, and they just start having whole defense moves. By now, they done cleaned up all their military bases, they done did this, they done did that, and just like Korea was doing up and down the street and stuff, and Korea started going down. As far as the United States not knowing what was happening in China, not true. Since the same day Soleimani was martyred, January the 3rd, 2000, the World Health Organization or something, and the UN have been briefed by China almost every day since it's 3 months back. Okay, now this thing that they had, the Chinese, here's what they say. Well, first the Iranians, biodefense, disinfection operations, identify and treat. That's what it's all about for Iran. It could be a biological attack, and the target could be Iranians, and it would be a genetic attack on Indo-Europeans, which that's what they call Iranians. Indo-Europeans, can you imagine? Yeah. Now, the Chinese say that, wait, boss man, y'all talking about what the Chinese did. They say, you guys was here in Wuhan, where it started. So you guys was here back in the day, man. And we kind of think y'all might have did that. That's what they're saying. The Chinese are saying that. And they remember, the CIA and all of these people have knowledge of all of this stuff. You don't know whether the CIA started it and they got a vaccine already. So to make Trump even more powerful, he could say, we're going to use this and we're going to use that. And all the doctors might say, we can't use that, man, that's crazy. That's for something else. All he needs is one of them to work, and Trump will be the champion of the world. They said the doctors don't know anything. I know everything. And the people are dumb enough to believe it. So all they got to do is get one thing. No, you got to remember, some of this stuff is thought out, and we don't know. We have to go off what we got in our